Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Binge Loren the Amazon Princess with me, Stuart. Last time we departed, we were caught up in the middle of a family squabble as, I forgot his name, we'll remember in a second, has committed some evil deed. Let's find out. No, son. You've ruined everything! Saren placed Mirth in a safe place and stood to protect her. Tobar and the other elves immediately fled to take cover. Even some of his own rogues abandoned him in terror. He's using demonic magic! Loren knew that Mesfit had to die right then and there, and she wasted no time in getting to it. Mesfit, that was his name. Oh, I know this game well. Alright, we got our team. Let's go! Maybe overdrive. Not today. Ow. He just shot me. Ooh. Sneak attack. Wow, that was a bit much. I won! Blood trickled from Mesfit's mouth. The exhausted party watched him fall to his knees, openly bleeding. My people need justice. He coughed and fell onto the ground, his wounds turning the sand red. The only sound was the howling wind as everyone waited for him to die. Instead, he seemed to be in agony, so Loren approached him, with her sword and mercy ready. No! The elder dark elf hobbled quickly and fell by Mesfit's side, cradling his head closely. The rogue leader could barely keep his eyes open, but tried to find the elder with his hands. Father, I'm here. I'm so sorry. Look at you. You're everything we strive to erase. I will put him out of his misery. Tobar quickly shot a desperate look at Loren, knowing that his son was in pain and that he had done wrong, but also still clutching tightly to him, as if to never let go. Saren felt a hand on his leg. He looked down to see Mirth struggling to stand. She whispered something under her breath, but he could not hear her. Instead, Saren helped her to stand. Wait! Her hoarse voice was much clearer now. Saren searched her eyes and found not only tears, but sympathy. Mirth limped towards Mesfit and Tobar, crashing next to them to place her own hands on the fallen rogue. Forgive me. Her hands began to glow as she attempted to heal him. You must live. Fight the calls of the demon inside you. Do not let them consume your life as well. Fight for your blood. Fight it, son. and Saren is there too. Mesfit did not seem to be recovering. He just coughed and wheezed, losing a lot of blood. Saren could no longer stand it and rushed to Mirth's side, using his healing magic as well. Mirth looked at him in gratitude with a soft smile as she could muster. Together, the healing magic undid everything the party had just inflicted on him, and his wounds closed. Though the bleeding had stopped, Mesfit was still prone and in pain. He will live, but it will take time for him to recover completely. You saved him. Everyone deserves a second chance. She and Tobar exchanged a look, not of understanding or trust, but of compassion. The sun began to set over the desert town. Leveling up, auto assigning. It's fun auto assigning because it's like I don't know what it's gonna get. I don't know what's gonna be next. Mutual trust was far away for these two factions. Tobar had tried to prove that they should not be judged for their past, but their past was so horribly made present by his own son. Mirth saved Mesfit that day out of guilt and pity, but it was the first movement towards peace between the forest elves and the dark elves in 100 years. It was just enough to restore hope in these dark times, and they were going to need it. Mirth asked that Mesfit be taken away from Tobar's village to recover, so that the forest could not sense him anymore. In return, Tobar asked for an alliance and the exiles of the Dark Elves to end. Mirth promised to begin negotiations, but warned that it would not be a quick or easy process. The party went back into the heart of the forest, into the Forestels village where they had first started. There, they recovered from their long journey, and Mirth finally prepared for her divination ceremony. It would take several days and required complete isolation, so Loren was left to wait. Tasks? Might try out, actually giving my team items and stuff. So let's see what the town of Grand Tree has to offer. Okay! After some truly thrilling stuff that you will no doubt not see, let's go on. The party was well rested and fully prepared to travel again. Loren was anxious to find her mother, but the elves warned her not to disrupt Elder Druid Mirth's divination ceremony, or it would be ruined. After the longest several days in her life, Loren was finally approached by Mirth herself. The druid smiled warmly. Well, I have seen her. Loren's heart jumped, and she rushed towards Mirth with eagerness. She is in a swamp, the swamps north of Grimoire. She was with a man. A man? My mother travels with no men. That is what I saw. Loren concluded that her mother was being held captive by this man, and that there was no time to lose. I must leave immediately. She walked away from Mirth without another word. The druid squeaked from being left behind, and hurried after the princess. Please, wait! There is much to discuss. Saren walked up and saw the druid chasing his mistress. What's going on? Saren, good. Be prepared to leave shortly. I will tell the others. Princess Loren! But the princess did not listen, and hurried away. Mirth let out a heavy sigh, and turned to Saren in defeat. She has already heard what she needed to hear, and will listen to nothing else. How was your divination process? Have you recovered? The elder druid smiled from the unexpected concern. Oh, yes, it went very well. Thank you. What did you need to tell her? I will pass it on for you. It's the sword, the Hork blade. Saren shifted to give Mirth his full attention. The revelation of the sword had been bothering him too. We found it in such a hurry that I don't believe she realizes the importance of that weapon. It may look like just a sword, but you saw how it glowed in her hands. The ancient swords have only glowed from the greatest warriors whom the world has ever known. Every person who has wielded one of those weapons has changed the world in some significant way. The gods have selected this Amazon princess for some great purpose, and I will not wait in the forest to find out what it is. Are you proposing to follow us? For the sword? The sword, yes. And because I've grown fond of you, and your party's company. Oh yeah! Saren smirked involuntarily. They were certainly a colourful bunch. His anxiousness seemed to calm, knowing that he would not have to soon part from his beautiful druid. This beautiful druid. If that sword is destined to shape this world, If that sword is destined to shape this world, I need to make sure that it is not for the worse. Do you not trust Loren to handle this responsibly? No, I do trust her. I meant that I hope she does not fall into the wrong hands. Someone could manipulate her to use the sword for evil. Like whom? Like the Empire, of course. Why would they use it for evil? Because they are humans, like I am? I'm... Just then an arrow shot through the air between Mirth and Saren, lodging in a nearby tree. The druid shrieked and grabbed her head in pain. Saren pulled out his weapon to protect her. Tisk tisk, bad girl. Mirth immediately relaxed. She looked up into the trees where the unknown voice had called from. Who's there? Come down! Ray, you know visitors don't appreciate your random demonstrations of marksmanship. A demonstration? Is that what you call almost murdering us? I think Ray was the pony talk. Hell. Rest assured, if I wanted you dead, you'd be so. They could still not see who was teasing them, but Mirth seemed to know him well.
Do not mind him.
No, don't mind the questionable elf in the trees with a loaded crossbow and a remarkable shot.
Ray!
The hidden elf's laughter fell down on them and then stopped. They searched the canopy for any sign of him. They grew tense the longer they heard and saw nothing, not a rustle of a branch or even a movement of a leaf. And then suddenly there was a rustling from the tree directly above them, and a green-clad elf jumped down, grinning deviously. Surprise! Mirth whacked his arm with her staff.
How many times have I told you not to do that? It gives me a headache. Now apologize.
Ray sighed and turned towards the tree that he had just leapt from. He yanked out the bolt that he had wedged in a moment ago. I'm very sorry, love. I see that I shot you. Did it hurt much? Did I hurt you much? He leaned towards the trunk and massaged the bark where his bolt had made an indentation. Would you like me to kiss it better? The elves whispered to the tree and his face closed in on it, as if it were really about to kiss it.
The forest is laughing at you now.
She always does. I've changed his voice a few times. Mirth pulled him away from petting the tree and he laughed. Saren couldn't help but get the impression that they were very intimate with each other. For some reason, Saren felt a strong flare of envy watching Mirth's eyes dance as she looked at Ray.
Why are you here?
You owe me a new target.
Why?
You know why. Mirth frowned from being forced to recall what happened in the desert.
I'm sorry I took Misfit from you, but there was an urgent piece of business that required him out of the picture.
Yes, we all heard what you told the elders. Ray stepped close to Mirth and spoke directly into his ear. But we both know that he's not really out of the picture, don't we?
How did you...
You think I don't know absolutely everything about my target? What kind of assassin do you take me for?
Do not tell anyone, Ray. I'm begging you.
You know I wouldn't, if I don't have to. Though it would be very awful if everyone to know that the Elder Druid is protecting the Dark Elves' rogue leader. You don't understand! Saren pulled Ray's attention from Mirth. He took a step towards him in resulting silence. It's about time I asked. Just who are you?
Saren! Saren, we are leaving.
Saren jumped on the sound of his name. Loren and the rest of the party were standing nearby, waving to join them. Her Majesty calls. Are you ready, Druid Mirth? Hold on. You're leaving? You just got back.
This is a very important matter that means peace or war in the world. I must follow the Princess Loren of the Amazons if I wish to really protect the forest.
Oh, so this man is taking you away. Don't believe his lies. You belong in the forest. Saren growled and took a step towards the elf assassin. She made this decision on her own. Nonsense. You're not leaving for anywhere without me.
Ray, I'm perfectly capable of taking care of myself.
Yes, but now you have a debt to pay me. I know you'll come across worthy targets to make it up to me. You can't just leave me empty-handed and walk away.
What is the holdup? We must not waste any more time here.
Loren finally approached with a scowl on her face from being held up. Ah, Your Majesty. Druid Mirth would like to follow us on our journey.
You want to leave the forest again? You could hardly breathe in the desert. The desert is a very dry and devoid of life, so it is especially troubling. But I assure you that I'm comfortable enough outside the forest to travel with you. Your magic has proved very useful from what I've seen, and I may need your divination in the future. I have no problems with you traveling with us.
And me?
Excuse me? Ray, no, you're staying here.
You owe me for Misfit.
You'd outright disobey your elder sister's orders?
For one, you're not my real sister, and yes. Saren felt like laughing after learning that they were acting as two siblings, not two lovers. The knot in his stomach melted away.
And what about an elder druids?
Maybe.
This is not a vacation. We're headed straight for the unforgiving swamps.
Ray's eyes seemed to sparkle from just hearing the destination. After a beat of silence, and looking into her brother's pleading eyes, she sighed.
Princess Loren, this elf is an unparalleled assassin and master of the crossbow. His help would be invaluable.
Ray bowed elegantly before Loren, but she remained unmoved. Saren knew that it was simply because he was a man and standing between her and her mother. You seem like a strong woman, capable of giving me plenty of exciting prey to hunt. I would be honored to fight alongside you.
If it would get us to leave the forest any faster, as you wish.
Ray perked up at his acceptance, curt as it was. He threw a cocky smile over at Mirth, who just shook her head.
Now let's go. My mother is in danger, and we should not forget that again.
Loren led the party out of the forest and in the direction of the swamps as quickly as she could. She needed to save her mother, and there was no time to spare. Ray, the thief assassin! Oh! How dare you? Order a sign! Order a sign! Booyah! Loren would realize that her hurried approval of Ray's company would come back to haunt her, as she had now surrounded herself with yet another man who seemed to try his best to grate on her nerves. Still, he had more tact and intelligence than Draco could even muster, making him obviously more pleasant to have around. Ray and Mirth would reveal themselves in time to be step-siblings, raised by the same druid elder. His parents had been killed by dark elves, and he had been abandoned in the forest. Knowing that dark elves played such a cruel role in the lives explained their initial hostility towards dark elves, and Ray's eventual disapproval of their acceptance back into so yeah, looks like we'll be heading for the unforgiving swamps. Hopefully I can finally get Ray and the druid's voice solid, but until then, bye-bye.